It's now time for Ermanni and Edwards with Maz, live on the Woodward Sports Network. Every day, 2 to 4 p.m. Starring Ryan Ermanni, Michigan great and former NFL baller Braylon Edwards, and of course, Tom Mazaway. Let's talk some sports.
And here we go. It is Wednesday, December 28th, 2022. For a couple of more days, Ermanni and Edwards with Maz, Woodward Sports Network, woodwardsports.com. If you're watching along on fox2detroit.com, we appreciate that. Maybe watching on Tubi. We are on Tubi through Fox 2, so you can watch on your television sets. Ryan Ermanni, Braylon Edwards, after a couple of days off for the holiday. Good afternoon to you.
Man, I feel good. You know, it's funny, when phone stops working on Saturday, sometime around Saturday night, Sunday morning, which is Christmas, and I wake up, phone's not working. I'm like, oh, what the hell is going on? I'm still feeling that cold that I was getting over last week. You notice, no sneezing, no coughing, none of those things. Feel much better. And just, you know what, like, as opposed to panic, I said, sometimes you got to unplug. Mm-hmm. Like, sometimes you got to unplug. I feel like, Ryan, you and I, we're always on. And we always got to be on. Whether you're a Fox, you got to be on. You come here, you got to be on. Me, I'm out of town, I got to be on. Here, I'm about to be on. We run into people at Myers, you got to be Ryan Ermanni. You can't just, and then you go home, and you got to be Captain Dad. You got to be Captain Husband. So I took those last couple of days, man, or these last couple of days, just unplug on one. I haven't left the house since Thursday.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't leave the house Thursday. Thank you, DoorDash. I do appreciate you for all your essential needs. You can get those on DoorDash, who are not a sponsor, by the way. But
they are going to be soon.
100%. This is the way we're going. But it just feels good to unplug, relax, get healthy. My mom made all type of elixirs and all these healthy herbal remedies. So I feel a lot better, feel good. I'm plugged back in, and it's at the best time. Detroit Lions fighting to get to the playoffs, and University of Michigan. Felt like a month away. Now, Ryan Ermanni, it's 4 days away.
No doubt about it. We're going to get into that. Just the idea. Tom Mazaway, by the way, off this week. He'll be back next week. We got Fletch and JB. Oh, it's so great. We love it. We miss him. It's good, but he'll be back next week. I will say there is something to unplugging, and this is a holiday week for a lot of people who may be off or at least outside of your normal routine. There is something to be said for putting the phone down,
man.
Maybe being present, maybe taking some time to yourself.
Yeah.
Hell, maybe even just laying on the couch and watching a movie. I mean, is there anything better than that right now? If you're watching us, we appreciate it.
Yeah. Don't watch
obviously,
that movie.
Absolutely.
Stay here.
But nonetheless, I mean, that is like my dream, to turn the phone off and just chill for a couple of days.
We don't know how to chill, Ryan. Mm-hmm. And that's what's so good. Whenever I have these moments where either my phone breaks or, you know, I lose my phone or my phone gets wet, and I have these moments where I'm waiting for a replacement, like, sometimes you forget how good it is to react. Like, we're so conditioned to be plugged in. Mm-hmm. Well, even when we're watching, even when I'm watching the TV show, or I'm watching the game, or I'm watching the highlights, or I'm watching some documentary, I'm staring at my phone the whole time I'm watching the movie. Like, I'm checking Instagram to see what's going on. I look up, watch the movie a little bit. I'm jumping down to see what's the latest on woodwardsports.com, if you will. Then I'm watching the movie. It felt good to actually watch the movie and be engaged in the movie. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it felt
Without
good.
question.
It felt good to kick it with my niece and be engaged with my niece. Once I stopped coughing and sneezing, I didn't want to get the baby sick on her first Christmas, but it just felt so good to unplug. The only thing about it is when you plug back in to 253 messages, and then Luka Doncic and what he did, so you got to catch back up.
Did you see that last night?
I did. I saw it this
60,
morning.
20, and 10.
It's crazy stat line, probably. I mean, there have been some stat lines. I mean, Jokic just had a stat line a week ago. He was 43, 27, and 10. Shoot, AD had 58, 20, and 15 here at the a couple years ago. But nothing like that, man. To watch Luka Doncic, what he was doing. Jeff Iafredi was just in the studio. We were talking to Jeff. What's up, Jeff? Shout out to Jeff Iafredi. It's just the way in which he does it, Ryan, is special. Like, no one forces his pace. It doesn't matter who he's playing against. He can be backing down a center. He can be backing down a power forward. He can be dribbling at the top of the key against a point guard. He can have a small forward in the face him up or back to the basket. He operates at his own pace, and he just looks like a kid. Because once again, Ryan, he's only 23. He looks like a kid playing 21. Remember playing 21 in the backyard? Tipping somebody out? He looks like he's playing in a pro version of 21.
And in the NBA last night, the Dallas Mavericks beat the New York Knicks in overtime, 126-121. And you talk about 60 points, 21 rebounds, 10 assists for Luka Doncic. I'm not sure which is more impressive. The fact that he scored 60, 21, and 10, or the fact that Dallas was down by 9 points with 35 seconds to go, and teams in that situation over the last 25 to 20 years, according to ESPN stats and information, 13,884. That has never been done before. The Dallas Mavericks down 9 points with 35 seconds to go.
I swear T-Mac scored 17 points in a minute and came back on for the
Maybe
Rockets
in a minute.
time.
Maybe he needed the full 60 minutes, 60 seconds.
That's fair.
But with 35 seconds to go, down 9, it hasn't been done in the past 20 years of the play-by-play era. That is incredible. And then we saw Pistons the night before become just the second team in 12,000-plus games to drop a game after leading by 14 points with 3.5 to go. I mean, what in the world is happening in the NBA?
It's just the multitude of ways in which you can score, the three ball being as big as it is nowadays, and just guys can hoop. I mean, guys are different. They're taking different chances. I don't think these chances were allotted to players back 20 years ago, 25 years ago, to think they could do certain plays, act like they can score in plays. Certain times like now with coaches just say, hey, look, man, that's why you making $50 million. Go make something happen. Yeah, I think everything was predicated on setting up a play. Okay, well, this is what we'll do. They'll come out of the timeout, and then we'll go here, and then we'll trap. Now it's not necessarily about setting up. Everything isn't about just drawing on the erase board in the timeout. Sometimes you just tell your players, look, I don't know how the hell we're going to pull this off, but you the man to go get it done. Go get it done, and Luka Doncic, you saw him out there. I mean, he was shooting shots. He was following his shots. Like, that's why it's still like a real live game of 21. When you play 21 in the backyard, when you playing tip outs, or I don't want to go back down to 15 or to 7 or whatever score you had to go back. It's been so long, JB. But that's how he looked. He looked like every time he shot, if they would have tipped it or got the rebound, he would have been out of the game or eliminated. That's why he had so many rebounds. He was following up every freaking shot. Even the game winner was a follow-up putback. I mean, the one that tied to go to overtime.
I don't want to overreact, but is he the best player in the NBA? If you're starting a team today, who do you start with? And if you need one player to win a championship, who are you taking? Is that player the same person that you would pick? Would you pick the same player?
It's 3 players in consideration. They're all foreign. It's Giannis, it's Giannis, it's the Joker, and it's Luka Doncic. Now, if I need one of those guys to go win me a championship, let's say, who am I starting a franchise with? It's tough. It's tough. Giannis has won already. So I would say you have to go with Giannis. Giannis is a guy that's won a championship. Giannis stayed with the Bucks to do it. Most foreign players do stay with their original teams. Just ask Dirk Nowitzki about that. But I'm thinking it's Giannis. But it's so close between those two. If somebody told me Luka, I'd be like, more power to you, because I have no problem with that. If somebody told me Jokic, which one of my best friends just told me a week ago, I have no problem with that. More power to you. I'm going to take Giannis, but it's nobody outside those 3.
I'm just going back to the 2018 draft. Luka Doncic taken 3rd overall by
the Atlanta Hawks. They flip-flopped their picks.
Who then traded him to Dallas for Trae Young, who Dallas took at 5.
Yeah.
Do you think? I mean, Trae Young and Trae Young in Atlanta got to the Eastern Conference Finals a couple of years ago. He's a very good player, all-star type player. Do you think if Atlanta had to do that again, they would choose differently?
I'm going to say something that's going to sound very funny, but I think you will get me where I'm going with this. Atlanta's better suited for Trae Young. I think Dallas is better suited for Luka Doncic.
I love your honesty, man.
Look,
hey, sometimes
Atlanta's a black city, but not only that, Luka Doncic getting drafted to, or getting flopped on draft day to Dallas. Who's the idol there? Who's the icon there? It gave him an instant mentor. It gave him an instant someone he can look up to. It gave them somebody that they can pass the keys to. And I think they were closer in stature, size, and terms of play. So I just think it fit perfectly. Like, that's the politically correct answer. But yeah, I mean, Atlanta's a black city and Dallas is a white city, so I think it fits perfect for both of them.
I just, I can't stop but be envious of teams like Dallas or the Mavericks.
I can't see Luka like Lenny Small hanging out.
Well, yeah, I mean, but Dallas and all these they got all these stars all over the place. Luka, where is the Detroit Pistons' Luka Doncic? And I understand Cade Cunningham is a really nice player, and we hope that he turns into becoming a perennial all-star. But we don't see Cade Cunningham as this transformational, all-time great player, do we? I mean, you got the number 1 pick, great, but you wish you had it maybe this year coming up or in a year that a LeBron James type guy comes out. You know what I'm trying to get at?
100%. You can't pause with that prefix next time. You got to go a little faster. But
well, I've been on the air since 7 o'clock, so I'm like thinking, I always think of transactional instead of transactional, like Jim Harbaugh always says. Right. I want a transformational.
Yeah. I think a transactional too until it's like elongated out. Then it's like, wait, where are we going?
Kill you.
No, I'm just messing with you. I'm trying to make you smile.
and you have.
And I appreciate it. But I agree with you, Ryan. When you think about it, when I was talking about Cade Cunningham, we've been talking about this. We've been on now a little over a year. We were there right before they drafted. Well, right after they drafted, I should say, last year, Cade Cunningham. You're like, he's just not. He doesn't do it. Like when you get number 1 pick overall, you're thinking John Morant. You're thinking he was 2. You're thinking Zion Williamson. You're thinking what you see in Luka Doncic, who also was a number 1 overall. But you're looking for that player. And what I've been told by everybody is you just got to watch him. You got to see what Cade Cunningham has done. And he's gotten better this year before he was out for injury. Now, he had some games in which he dropped 30 or he dropped 28. You think he's averaging right around 21, 22 points. But it's just not fly or fancy. Like when you watch these young guys, when we think of the young guys of this era, we think of 40-point games, right. 50-point games. You think of, crossing somebody, putting them in a blender. You look to see them in the highlight reel. You ain't never going to see Cade Cunningham in the highlight reel.
Right. And just to clarify, DeAndre Ayton went number 1 that year. Marvin Bagley went 2.
Yeah, I know both of them, which they can have a pick back.
I'm telling you, right. Phoenix took Ayton 1, and Sacramento took Marvin Bagley 2. And Luka Doncic 3. That's how you get fired as a general manager, right? At the end of the day, that's how you get fired as a general manager.
Everybody except Sacramento, though, had been to the conference finals at least.
And Phoenix been in the finals.
Very true.
So it worked out, but nonetheless.
100%.
Very good. All right, guys, we're going to take a break. When we come back, you'll hear from Jim Harbaugh talking about the TCU Horned Frogs, the challenge they present. Braylon will be at the game in Phoenix, Arizona, or Glendale, Arizona, as it were.
Glendale. It's in the middle of nowhere, man. I always hate going to that stadium. It's in the middle of nowhere.
I want you to tell me about your experience, how it's going to play out, what you think Michigan is going to do this week. Game day, just a couple of days away. But first, a message from Guardian Alarm. They're your local security experts, have been for over 90 years. You see that black and yellow sign out in front of your house, tells the bad guys one thing.
Stay out.
Whether you are at home or on the road, they're 24/7 local monitoring. Make sure what is important to you stays safe. Call this number right here, 1-800-STAY-OUT. That number again, 1-800-STAY-OUT. Call them today. Tell them Woodward Sports sent you.
Stay out.
The sports marketing agency would not be who we are without great community partners like Higuera Health and Carol Zaniga.
It's an awesome opportunity to partner with your organization. Higuera Health is a comprehensive behavioral health organization. We serve children through older adults with mental health, substance use, and developmental disabilities across Western Wayne counties, and really excited to now be in downriver communities as well. Give us a call at 734-458-4601.
3 NBA championships. Detroit fans were there. 11 Stanley Cups. Detroit fans were there. 4 World Series wins. Detroit fans were there. And that one Lions playoff win in 1991. Yeah, Detroit fans were there. Woodward Sports, where the fans are.
Wintertime in Detroit is always better with comfort foods from Big Boy.
Big Jim.
Try the classic meatloaf or their Cajun chicken Alfredo. Or what about breakfast? The stuffed potato pancakes are back. Try the Lumberjack, the Santa Fe, or the Blockbuster. Stop by your local Big Boy today and give them a try.
Hey, welcome back. Woodward Sports Woodwardsports.com, Woodward Sports Network, Fox2Detroit.com. Hey, I wanted to add, before we get into the Michigan, some breaking news in the NFL. Derek Carr getting benched for the rest of the season in Las Vegas. That will bring, most likely, his time as a Raider to a close. Jarrett Stidham is going to be the starting quarterback for the rest of the season. 2 more games for the Raiders. Now, Derek Carr has a $40.4 million guarantee in February, so the Raiders will likely cut him or release him before that. Are you surprised that the Raiders are making a move here on Derek Carr? And where do you think Derek Carr lands up initially? I mean, there's going to be more to say about this in the coming weeks and months ahead, but where do you think a guy like Derek Carr ends up?
First of all, this is funny. Like, this is funny. The reason why I say it's funny is you have a coach and Josh McDaniels, who's saying basically, let me get ahead of it. You know what I'm saying? I don't want people to think it's my fault. The reason why the Raiders have lost leads, the reason why the Raiders have blown games, the reason why the Raiders have not looked as good as they did last year when Rich Bisaccia, interim head coach, got them to the playoff. No. It's that guy's fault.
League leading 14 interceptions.
Yeah, it's his fault. He's been here the longest. Has he won since you guys been here? It ain't my fault. That's what basically Josh McDaniels is saying. You know what? It's an ugly way to move forward from a quarterback, and I think that after everything that quarterback has done, Derek Carr, in terms of what he's dealt with there, like, this is the guy that when everything go bad in Las Vegas, who do they stick in front of the microphone? Who are they quick to put in front of the microphone? Like, hey, look, go save the situation. Whether it was Henry Ruggs, whether it was Ward from John Gruden. Whether it was David Arnett, whether it was John Gruden, whether it was Carl Nassib, he always was the guy at the microphone. He was always the guy taking accountability, taking the blame.
Face of a franchise.
And you gotta give him respect for always answering that bell. So I think this is not a way in which you do that. You don't bench a guy that's been a Pro Bowl guy for pretty much the last 6-7 seasons in a row. I don't think that was fair, but life's not fair. I think I saw this move coming. Like, I think you got to move on. Like, your franchise hasn't won with this guy as your quarterback. Sometimes you got to move on. It's just like the Detroit Lions did with Matt Stafford. 12 years here, hadn't gotten it done for whatever reason. I think the same with Derek Carr. Derek Carr's been there 10 years. 11, 10 years, 9, right under that wing. So it's around the same time, and they haven't gotten it done. A landing spot, there's a team that has a damn good defense in the NFL. There is a team that has a good offensive running back that was about to take off this year before he got hurt. There's that same team that has some wide receivers that are playing for them and some tight ends, but they can't seem to figure out the quarterback position. In fact, their quarterback that they just drafted, 2nd overall 2 years ago, well, he's out too. And they got another quarterback who Maz loves and swears by. The guy's name is Mike White. Derek Carr to the New York Jets.
You know, that's not a bad one, and it's not a bad idea to look at him at the Miami Dolphins either. With Tua in concussion protocol. He's got the concussion. So you look at Miami as a possible landing spot as well. I will say the one elephant in the room, if you wake up this morning and you are Davante Adams, who signed a long-term deal and took less money to come to Las Vegas to play with his best friend Derek Carr, and then you bench and ultimately cut him after 1 year, I am just totally irate. I am irate if I'm Davante Adams. When
you make a decision, now, with Davante, I didn't even think about that, Ryan and Ermanni. I didn't even think about that. When you make a decision, you got to look at all of the intangibles. You got to look at everything. Now, yes, they played with Davante Adams for the better part of 3 years. They let Aaron Rodgers do what he wanted to for the better part of 2 years. They offered him the salary, Ryan, but it was in the 25th hour. That's what nobody seems to talk about. They offered him the salary that was a match and actually a little bit more, but it was in the 25th hour. Man, I'm already in Vegas when you guys call me with a deal. I'm already in Vegas. But at the same time, that guy was Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Like, the NFC North was yours every year.
Every year.
Every year you had the easiest path. Like, even now, the Green Bay Packers have found a way in to a path for the NFC, well, not the NFC North, but to the playoff. Then out there with Vegas, there were always something, whether it's John Gruden, whether it was Rich Bisaccia, whether it was this player, whether it was just the Vegas, whether it's Derek Carr not being able to make it happen, whether it's a new head coach, which is always the Vegas Raiders or the Oakland Raiders hindrance, these new coaches that come in. That's something that you have to look at too. And he looked at it and still chose to make the move to go out there. So at the end of the day, just like I was on his side when he left, I'm on this side. I'm on the side of, well, you made that decision,
right? So
now you got to live with it.
And if you're the Raiders, I mean, I know. Look, it's a quarterback-driven league, but Derek Carr has not been great by any stretch of the word, by any stretch of the imagination. But he has been pretty darn good over the years. Yeah. Josh McDaniels has done nothing in this league as a head coach.
Man.
So if you're asking me, who am I going to war with? Am I choosing Derek Carr or am I choosing Josh McDaniels? That's a pretty big question. And I don't know if I even know the answer because I think you can win with Derek Carr because of the team you're assembling around him. I'm not sure if you can win with Josh McDaniels. He's done nothing in this league as a head coach, and some guys are just not made to be head coaches. They're just not. Some guys are just way better coordinators. And I don't think Josh McDaniels is a guy I want to go to war with. How many times do you have to see a New England coordinator fail before you figure out that if you're giving me the choice of McDaniels or Carr, I'm probably choosing Carr.
Yeah, I think for Mike Davis, I think Mike Davis is looking at it this side. You know, the three longest tenured coaches under Belichick are one, Brian Daboll. Well, Brian Daboll is looking pretty good out there. So I think he's looking at it in terms of, well, Brian Daboll is having success. I think Josh McDaniels can have success. I think Josh McDaniels is ready. I think it is his time. Just like other people, just like last year, we gave Robert Saleh another year in terms of New York Jets, just like this year. Gave Dan Campbell another year, and it's looked a lot better. I think that's what he's hoping on too. But I think with Derek Carr, it goes back to, you've watched him for so long, and he hasn't gotten it done. Like, Derek Carr has had numbers, but there's one thing to have numbers, Ryan, and have a 300-yard game or finish the season with 4,900 yards and 30 touchdowns. It's one thing to have that. There's another thing to watch a guy when you turn up on the tape, you're like, this guy is why they win games. This guy is why they won the championship, or this guy is why they won the conference, or this guy is why they got to the playoff. That's not when you watch Derek Carr. It just does not ever feel like that. Even though he's gone to 6 Pro Bowls or he's made 7 all right, etc., it just never feels like it's Derek Carr. So if you're Mike Davis, you're tired of waiting around. But the only thing is, you can't go back to him. Once you get rid of him, at least with the Rams. The Rams made a whole thing. It was like, all right, look, Jared Goff's not in anymore, but now we need to find out who is it. Okay, Matt Stafford's it for us. Now we need to see if Matt Stafford will even come here. Then they have the combo meeting, and then they see that Matt Stafford wants out too. So basically what I'm saying is they had that whole play in motion when they hit the switch. When they hit the switch, boom, everything was in motion. By the time we found out about it, Matt Stafford was already on playing out to round. Now it's like we're finding out about it, but where's your deal? Where's your move? Who are you going to do it with? Now nothing is really set up. That's a very dangerous game.
If you look at coaches in the NFL too, and this was, did you see the report a couple of weeks ago about how NFL teams have spent $800 million on fired coaches over the past 5 years?
Dang.
So the NFL owners over 32 teams have paid out over $800 million to people not to coach anymore. The hiring practices have got to improve. I mean, if you think of Goldman Sachs or Citigroup or insert big corporation name here and how long it takes to vet and find your next CEO, these NFL teams take a week and they know. You know what I'm saying? Like, it takes a long time. You absolutely need to do a better job in hiring coaches in the NFL. And I'm not a Josh McDaniels guy at all.
Yeah, no.
I think he's a terrible.
You made no bones about that. You made no bones about
right.
You're right. My sister's fiance, aka Rain's father. What up, Cam? How you doing? Parents actually went to his house for the holidays. That was something new. I like it, merging the families. But we were sitting down on Saturday, Ryan. My siblings came over, Berkeley, Bailey. You know Berkeley. Bailey came over, Brooklyn, my youngest sister, and we're trying to find, I can't remember what Christmas movie we were, Elf. We're trying to find
Buddy the Elf.
Buddy the Elf, baby.
Santa!
I love him. So we're trying to find Elf, and me having no patience, I just go to my Prime. I type in Elf. I paid the $3.99 for Elf.
That's it.
I paid $3.99. We get involved, we watch Elf, right? So he's like, it's crazy how you just pay for it that fast. I was like, it's $3.99. Now we can watch Elf. It's no big deal. He said, but if you would have just took the time, you would have saw that it's on. It was on about 3 streaming sites that I actually paid for. So I could have gotten it for free. But I'm like, man, it's $3.99. The moral of that story is just because you have $3.99 don't mean you need to waste $3.99. Just because these billionaires have the money, it don't mean you need to be wasting money tied up into John Gruden, tied up into Josh McDaniels. You need to do a better job vetting the process, seeing the guy that you want.
Tied into Matt Rhule.
Tied into Matt Rhule. So much money, and I think that's what Mike Davis is looking at. Mike Davis is like, look, man, I ain't about to fire Josh McDaniels.
Tied into Frank Reich, who just got an extension in 2021.
And now he gone.
Yeah.
Like, that's why Mike Davis is saying, look, if I had to choose between Josh McDaniels and his quarterback, well, look, quarterback's been here 10 years. It's going to be the quarterback because I'm not about to fire another coach after 2 to 3 seasons. That's Mike Davis taking an Al Davis type stance.
Without question. I just wanted to get that breaking
crazy,
news in there. It is insane.
Christ.
Can you imagine that?
Man, me and you need to start coaching.
Seriously, you and me need to start getting fired a little bit more, start cutting us checks
Exactly.
over and over and over again.
Then we can always be on vacation.
Get fired, get the next job. Get fired, get the next job.
That's a practice.
Absolutely. Guys, we'll talk some Michigan football. You will hear from Jim Harbaugh next. But first, a message from Custom Health Centers. Get your customized approach to weight loss. Think of all the ways that weight loss affects your health mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically. Custom Health Centers helps you take the willpower out of weight loss, whether it's 20 pounds, 120 pounds. Custom Health Centers has you covered. They have over 20,000 success stories. Like to believe that I'm one of them. Call them right now. Call my friends. 844-789-THIN. That number again, 844-789-THIN.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Beverly Hills Golf, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
You don't have to go to the beach, man. You don't have to get your butt crack full of sand. You just need a little chili peppers, man, to get that glowing beach chili peppers tan. Woo!
With 26 locations in the Metro Detroit area and more coming, Chili Peppers Tanning is where you'll find the cleanest salons in the D. Join the Pepper Club for the best deals on unlimited tanning. Head to chilipepperstanning.com.
You just need a little chili peppers, man.
Get a shot up. This is for the win. All of Detroit's sports teams live on Woodward. All of Detroit's sports coverage lives on Woodward Sports. Driving the best in Detroit sports coverage.
Whether you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in a home, Mike Phillips at Keller Williams Legacy will get you in the game. 23 years he's been doing it. That's why he's number one. The community around him, his team, they will have the best interest for you. Whether you're a player or a fan, helping you buy and sell will be his top priority. Call him now. 313-403-0011. Game on.
Great team. No question about it. Really good at all positions. I agree. I mean, speed, but this is a strong team as well in all 3 phases.
Max.
Look at that. Want to thank Zach Shaw and his Twitter account for that Jim Harbaugh audio talking about TCU, the Horned Frogs, Michigan, and TCU college football playoff. 4:10 kickoff in Arizona. They play at the stadium where the Arizona Diamondbacks play.
Oh,
I heard.
Is that
the? Are they practice there?
Oh, they're practicing.
They're practicing
there.
Thank you very much. Yes, that's where they're practicing. I stand corrected. Fletch, good job there. Braylon, I got to tell you, man, I'm starting to get them juices going again here.
Okay.
I'm starting to get them juices going. So watching some of the practice video Chris Ballas has put out on his Twitter account. Great follow as well. Ballas Wolverine. But nonetheless, you're going out there. Tell me a little bit about your excitement level as we approach game day.
Extremely exciting. Last year I didn't get a chance to go out there. I mean, the game was, it was in Miami at Hard Rock Stadium. I didn't go. I think last year I was more so along the side. If they get the win, I'll go to the national championship because I didn't necessarily think they were ready. I was hoping for it, but I didn't go and support. This year, it's a much different team. This year I want to show support as well, so I'm going out there. I'm excited. The feeling is going to be real. Ryan, when I look at this situation, we talk about Ohio State or Georgia, and then we talked a little bit last week, and it said it had to be Georgia because you want them to do everything. You want them to accomplish everything in their way to become number one in the country, to be the number one brand, also to get retribution for last year and what Georgia did to Michigan. You got to be ready to win in these games, and I think Michigan has been built up to be ready to beat TCU, to go into the Georgia game in the national championship. You look at Michigan last year. Michigan, and we talked about it, they were excited to be there. It was like the first time they beat Ohio State in so long. It was the first time they won the Big Ten championship in so long. Now they're coming out here. It was like, all right, we're here. Well, maybe we win, maybe we don't, but we're here. We're better. Their attitude isn't that this year. You talked about J.J. McCarthy and Donovan Edwards and waiting and watching the confetti fall and watching the press conferences because they knew that they would be back. And they knew that they would do anything in their power in this offseason, whether it was working out, whether it was extra reps, whether it was extra routes, whether it was on the jug machine, whether it was in a classroom, whether it was together. They've done everything that they can to prepare themselves for this moment again. And it's here against the TCU. TCU is nothing but a team that's in their way. Now, TCU and Max Duggan, they're a good ball club. Running back Bell is underrated. The receiver, 6'5", big guy. He's going to be a matchup issue early on in the game. But they're a second-half team that is just in our way. When you watch TCU, by the time the games are over, TCU has expended all the energy that they have. Max Duggan looked like he almost died a couple weeks ago against Kansas State, and they got the L. And they took the L. Michigan gets better and stronger, but do you know how that is? That's just not because they want to win more. That's because Ben Herbert has these guys, the strength and conditioning coach for Michigan. They are the most in shape team. They are the fastest team. When's the last time you've been able to say that about Michigan?
Right. Speed kills, man.
They're the fastest team. They're the most in shape team. They have the best endurance. And if you notice everybody fading towards the end of the third through the fourth quarter, guess who's getting stronger? It's Michigan. Michigan's been doing that every year. TCU is a second-half team that barely wins in the second half. Michigan is a second-half team that's waiting for that moment, whether it's 8 minutes left in the fourth, whether it's the start of the third quarter. They're looking for that moment to blow you out, and that's what they've done. So I'm looking for a Michigan team that knows that they're much better than TCU, that doesn't waste time, that doesn't play around, does what they've been doing all year long, and get back to a game against Georgia, because that's what this season was built on. It wasn't even about the national championship. We'll see you guys if you happen to be there. It was always about Georgia.
You know, it feels like a business trip, and I know those guys have said that, a business trip as opposed to a vacation. And you were talking about some of the similarities the first time you went out to the Rose Bowl.
Yeah.
And you guys treated it like a vacation as well that first time you went out there.
We did. And when people hear this, it's not that we treated it like a vacation, like we weren't practicing hard, like we were just out there sloppy. Well, Lloyd doesn't go for that, so we practice hard. But we were trying to do everything and anything that they put on our schedule where they told us it was impossible. We were excited to go to Disneyland. We were excited to go to this club. I mean, we did hang out. I was 21, so we hung out at a couple different venues. We went where the stars were. we did a lot of touristy stuff. We were out there in Beverly Hills, California. We were staying at Beverly Hills Wilshire. You know how nice.
Oh, man.
You know how nice that place is. It's right down the street.
You know what time it is.
Oh, man, you know what time it is. Right down the street from UCLA. It's right down the street from Rodeo Drive. So we were just doing what it took. We were hanging out with former Michigan players that were in the NFL that was taking us around. I'm not putting anybody's business out there. Shout out to my big brothers. But we were doing everything, including training. When you go on these type of trips, Ryan and Monty, you're going to win the Rose Bowl. Now, Michigan's going for way more than the Rose Bowl. They're going to win a playoff game. That is going to get them into a national championship. That is going to give them opportunity to win their, third national championship that's claimed, an actual claimed national championship. So with that being said, when we came out there the second time to play Texas, and I was trying to, get drafted as high as I could, I didn't have time for all the extra SHIT. I didn't have no time. I didn't care about the stars. I didn't care about parties. We it's not an I thing. We didn't care about. All we cared about was practice and going back to that hotel room and getting ready, getting ice if we needed, getting our sleep, making sure we had the right amount of sleep. Because all we cared about was beating Texas. Because Vince Young and Cedric Benson, rest in peace, Derek Johnson, those dudes weren't better than us. We didn't respect the Big 12. We got prepared for a business trip, and we treated it like such. Much different than the first time around.
And you got beat, but at the end of the day, you wake up in the morning and say,
"Hey, man, walk-off field goal."
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah. You put your best foot forward, and sometimes you're going to get beat. But I'm not going to beat myself.
Defensive coordinator,
right? Either way, I mean, you guys went out there, you put your best foot forward. I will say this too about Michigan. I don't know if we here locally, and I think nationally, they give him a ton of credit. And he deserves it. But I don't think locally we have fully appreciated or given Jim Harbaugh the recognition that he is due. Articles written about him this week. Bruce Feldman had one today talking about how Jim Harbaugh in the last 2 years, 25-2 in the past 2 years, after the program really hit rock bottom. And all of a sudden, you get this incredible turnaround. Wrote a story in The Athletic today. I encourage everybody to go read it. How did he do it? So many of us, me included, I'll be the first to raise my hand. I wanted him gone. I just didn't think he had it anymore. I just didn't think that it was going to work out in Ann Arbor. I appreciated the fact that he came. But 5 years in, it still didn't beat Ohio State. Michigan State was still, in my eyes, above where Michigan was. And then 24 months later, they're on the top of the college football world. I would say that only Georgia is in a better spot in the country right now. I mean, if you go, USC is moving in that direction. Yeah. But I mean, if you look around the country, there aren't 4 football programs that you would rather have than the University of Michigan right now. Not 4 of them. So you're a top 5 program no matter what. And you've got a chance for your first national championship in 25 years. And not only that, to come from where they've come from, 2-4 COVID, probably would have lost by 100 to Ohio State that year had COVID not canceled the game. And say what you want about that one, but they didn't play it.
Yeah.
I just don't. I don't even. I got to give him all the credit in the world, and I'm glad he stuck around, and I'm glad Michigan gave him the opportunity to stick around.
100%. I think the thing about it is a lot of times people, they feel so inclined to apologize for, looking at Jim Harbaugh and saying, "Hey, I wanted him gone too." You know what? You were supposed to, because Jim Harbaugh was paid upwards of $9 million to win 9 games a year.
Right.
To win 10 games. That's not what we paid him for. And I say we because I am a donor to the University of Michigan, so don't get it twisted. But that's not what we paid him for. What we paid him for, we paid him to beat Michigan State consistently. We paid him to get to the Big Ten championship, which means he had to beat Ohio State a time or two. And that's when we paid attention. It wasn't for the national championship, although we hoped that would be the goal one day. It was, we wanted to go to Indianapolis.
Yeah.
Like everybody talked about, oh man, Harbaugh's taking those kids to Rome and Paris. I don't care, take them to Indianapolis.
Right.
Take them to Indianapolis. So you're not wrong for wanting that. Now here's where the credit comes in for Jim Harbaugh, because he was given a chance. So hey, sometimes you need luck to bounce your way. Okay, you know what? We have COVID. We can't play Ohio State. Sometimes luck bounces your way, because he was able to assess all right, look, if I plan on doing this here in Michigan, like, how do I do it? Like, where do I see it working for other people, and where's it not working for me? All right, cool. One, we're not fast enough. Insert hiring of Ben Herbert. To get Ben Herbert, they're now the strongest team in the Big Ten. They're the most physical team damn near in the country, next to Georgia. And we'll see if that changes in the national championship this game. They're now the fastest team on the field when they play. All right, cool. Now we got to go back to running the ball. You've seen what they've done. The running game has been amazing. They've always had a decent running game under Harbaugh, but this is lights out.
Yeah,
like the last 2 years have been insane. What Blake Corum and Son Haskins were able to do last year, and now what Blake Corum and Donovan Edwards were able to do this year, they are mauling people in the holes are there, and they're finding them. On the defensive side of the ball, the defense has done so much, but they're not playing just all-out blitz and man-to-man on the corners by Don Brown. They're not doing that anymore. They're throwing you some different looks. They're confusing you. In the second half, we just talked about the endurance is there. And, oh, by the way, he's staying true to what he believes in. See, that's why I give Jim Harbaugh all the credit in the world. So many coaches are trying to change. You got to change a little bit, right? But so many coaches are like, all right, man, what's this new thing over here? How's this offense working? We got to do some of that. We got to get us one of these players. You know, we got to start going to pay players. You know, we got to tell players and families it's more about your branding than it is our institution. So if you bring your kids here, all right, yeah, we'll get your kids in the first round. Hey, we'll get your kids' followers up on social media. Harbaugh's not selling you that. Harbaugh says he'll come here, he'll be able to compete for the greatest institution in the world. It'll be the team. Those individuals that don't want that, see, that's another reason why they win, and that's why it's worked. Because the guys that come here, they believe in what Harbaugh sells them in the living room. They believe in the ghost of Bo Schembechler, which is the team. They believe in, well, you know what? When you give yourself to something greater than yourself, everybody's going to win in that equation. They believe in that. They are working for each other. They don't care anything else about the NFL. Yeah, distantly down the line. But on this field with my brothers, this is going to get me to the NFL. The national championship game, yeah, I want to get paid and NIL and all this. This national championship pay, it's going to put some dollars in my pocket. So I think he's stayed with that. And his players are having success, and now other families and other players who may have wanted to go the Ryan Day approach and make everything individual are looking like, you know what? There is something to what Jim Harbaugh and Michigan are doing it this way. Jim Harbaugh should pat himself on the damn back for that, because I ain't going to lie, I didn't think that was going to work, and I thought you had to adapt. You had to adjust. Hey, man, sometimes if you're that good, you can adapt and adjust elsewhere. But where you will, like, what do you have to stay? Like, where do you have to keep it? Guess what? Those who stay. He stayed.
And that adjustment elsewhere came in the form of the coaching staff. Happy birthday to Ron Bellamy today. He brought in this infusion of talented young coaches that have brought energy, brought enthusiasm, brought a new sort of way about them. They know what's going on in these kids' lives. Yeah. They can relate to what's happening with all of them. I mean, hell, a couple of them are high school coaches like Ron Bellamy. Yeah. He knows more than anybody what kids are into these days. And you have to have those relationships. You have to allow a kid to feel like you are approachable to them. And Jim Harbaugh became approachable again. And I just think that this staff he assembled is second to none in the country. And you got to feel good about that.
You just brought up Ron Bellamy. I'm going to tell you a quote. Ron Bellamy loves Nick Saban. Like, Ron Bellamy, that's my brother. Ron Bellamy, happy birthday to you, brother. He hosted me, by the way, on my recruiting trip to Michigan. Ron Bellamy asked Nick Saban, because he played for Saban when Saban was with the Dolphins. Ron was in the Dolphins back in 2006. And then he ran into him later on in life since he's been at Alabama. And Ron asked me, he said, man, like, how do you deal with all these lions? And he was referring to, like, all the players. He said, you got all these lions, but you're just one man. He said, I hire a bunch of lion tamers. Like, that's what you got to do. Like, when you have a ton of lions, you can't be the only tamer. You can't think it's up to you to get everybody right. You can't think it's up to you to have to take care of each lion on your team. Newsflash, there are 100 guys. There are 100 guys on scholarship. You can't be in charge of all of them, but you know what you do? You hire coaches that can be those lion tamers for you, so you don't have to spend 24/7 worrying about the wide receiver room, the DB room, the linebacker room, the offensive line room. You hire lion tamers, and that's what Ron Bellamy said, and that's what Jim Harbaugh did.
Jim Harbaugh Conversation continues. Michigan TCU talk continues. Coming up next, what about that Ohio State-Georgia game? And do you like playing first? I want to ask Braylon that, too, because there's, last year was the night game. I'm happy it's the day game this year. I want to see what Braylon says about that. But first, a message from our friends at Lobster.
Yes, that's right. Woodward Sports is brought to you by Cousins Maine Lobster Detroit. Check out their food trucks rolling around the city offering the tastiest lobster rolls, lobster tacos, and so much more. Go to cousinsmainelobster.com and search locations to find their schedule right now, or you can always scan that QR code as well. But do yourself a favor, download the app to order ahead and earn some points. Guarantee you'll love it.
Introducing the Planet Fitness Guide to getting that post-workout glow. Step 1, what's your why? More epic energy, better sleep, blow off steam? Step 2, join Planet Fitness for just $10 a month and get moving in our clean and spacious clubs. Step 3, bask in that post-workout glow. Join Planet Fitness today for just $10 a month.
Join today at any of the 50-plus Detroit area locations.
What's a winter wonderland if you can't shop, eat, and play? Lucky for you, you can do it all at the Downtown Detroit Markets, Cadillac Lodge, and the new winter version of the Monroe Street Midway, all located just across the street from Campus Martius Park. Find the fun at deckedoutdetroit.com.
Have an opinion? Make sure it's seen and heard. Corner, jumper, tweet us, hop on the YouTube chat, slide in the DMS at Woodward Sports on all social media.
All right, now Swiss Insurance wants to remind you, insure gifts and collectibles. Because guess what? We know some of you guys got some gifts and collectibles that are worth a little bit of money, but Swiss Insurance Group wants to make sure that you insure with the right group. They have legitimately save their clients 26% on their premiums while increasing the coverage. This is somebody you got to go with. In fact, go see my boy Marcus Swiss right now to get yourself in the game.
Woodward Sports Network, woodwardsports.com. If you're in the woodwardsports.com chat, hello, everybody. If you're watching on Fox2Detroit.com, the Fox 2 app, or Fox 2 on Tubi, you can watch us there in television sets. Very, very good. The old television set. How many? We were talking to Fletch yesterday about young versus old kind of situations. Yeah. Do you know what a television set is, Fletch?
Sorry, I didn't have my mic up. Yes, I do. I grew up, and I was not as fortunate when I was a little bit younger as I am now, and so like I grew up with a big box TV. Oh yeah. And like I grew up watching VHS tapes and stuff like that. Like I didn't have the DVDs right when they came out, so I've seen the old stuff.
Here you go. Technically, a television set back in the day it comes with an antenna and the TV box. Yes. If you don't have the antenna, it's not a television set. My bad. I had to correct you because I'm a little old man over here. I was telling this guy, Ryan, JB and Fletch are going to love this. So when I was sitting at the bar in New York, what day was this? I think I was sitting there. This would have been Friday, the first day I got in. And I was just sitting there having a drink, talking to this cool old guy. I think his sister dates the backup quarterback for the Jets. So we were just sitting there chopping up.
Joe Flacco?
They got so many. They got so many. No, it was like number 15.
Yeah, that one wild man.
Yes,
that wild man that came in. Yeah.
So that's
forget his name.
Yeah, he has the sleeve.
Yeah. That guy. Yeah.
So anyway, and we're sitting there just talking about TV, and he said, "How old are you?" I said, "I'm old enough to remember that at midnight back in the day, after the news had gone off, they played the national anthem, and then TV went off.
Remember that?
And it went to static. Like I remember that. And obviously, if you had cable, then you could keep watching VH1 and other stuff or whatever. But if you were watching basic, and after that news went off, they would sing the national anthem, and then TV would go off.
I remember that too. Is that something or what?
You tell people that they're like, no. Then what happened? You're like, what?
Just
I'm
went,
like, it
went
was
to
go to
snow.
sleep.
We called it snow.
That meant take your ass to sleep.
I heard stories about it, but never seen it in my lifetime, so I couldn't tell you.
Yeah,
JB, it was incredible.
That's how it sounded. That lasted till about that lasted till about 95.
Unbelievable.
96.
Unbelievable. That is great. Hey, Braylon, I want to continue this conversation about Jim Harbaugh and the University of Michigan because they just look like a different team. And just seeing some of the videos on Twitter and seeing the interviews from the last couple of days in Arizona, this team looks so confident. And we mentioned that when they were playing Ohio State, the week leading up to Ohio State. Jim Harbaugh is smiling out there. J.J. McCarthy is smiling. Of course, business-like, but they had a confidence and an air about themselves that they knew they were going to go win that game. And I feel like I'm seeing a very similar persona, at least on the outside, moving forward into this week. It almost looks like they know they're going to win this game. That's how good they feel about themselves. And I saw that look in their eye, for lack of a better way to say it, against Ohio State, and they went out there and pounded the Buckeyes.
Oops.
I see that similar look. The eye of the tiger, man. Again. I see it.
That was pretty cool right there. Listen here, Burgess Meredith. They know who they are. They believe in who they are because that's all they know right now. You're looking at the majority of the guys in this team are second-year guys. You know what I'm saying? They're right in that 2 to 3 year wheelhouse in terms of their ages. And these guys, all they know is 25-2. All they know is that they play for the greatest coach ever to coach. Like, and this is their mind. They think they play for the best coach of all time. They damn sure play for the best coach right now, who's not named Kirby Smart, by the way. They believe in everything they do. They know they're the best team in the Big Ten, including Ohio State, which most people think Ohio State is like that next tier. They think it's Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State. Michigan's like, no, it's not. It's not either one of those other two. It's us. And then, well, Georgia will figure that out. They're playing with a confidence, but it speaks for itself. Look at what they've done to teams, Ryan. Like, they beat Penn State, who's ranked in the top 10. They beat them. Penn State's 11, I think. They're somewhere 11 or 10. They beat Penn State by 30.
Right. It's ridiculous. Penn State sucks.
They went to Ohio State. Well, you know what? They may suck, but guess what? They're ranked 10th in the country.
Exactly.
They went to Ohio State, and they beat them by 22.
Ohio State sucks.
And, they beat everybody. They keep beating people, and the way they're beating people, they're patient. They're patient. Like, it's kind of like this, Ryan. When I was in Michigan, we never thought we were going to lose a game. Like, when I was there, that was the Michigan attitude. Like, one is arrogant, so what? We built the way to be able to think that, at least in the Big Ten Conference. We just never thought we were going to lose a game. We never thought we were out of a game. And for the most part, with the exception of Iowa my sophomore year, that was true. We were in every game. We didn't lose games not that often. When you watch Michigan, they can win any type of game. The second half this season, look at the Iowa game. They found the right time. They blew that lead open. Penn State, well, they blew that lead open in the second half. Look at Ohio State. You look at the Illinois game. Well, what about Illinois? Well, they found a way to get a win. Sometimes you got ugly wins in there. I mean, Georgia almost lost to Missouri. They're winning every type of game because they're patient. But you know what patience is afforded to you? It's afforded to you when you know you're going to win the game. You're like, just keep chomping. Just keep chomping. Just keep doing things right. Just keep doing what we've been taught. Hey, you know what? Look a couple yards at a time. Do everything. See the ball. Catch the ball. Take it to the tuck. Don't fumble the ball. Go through your reads. When you think like that, you're going to win games because you know it's just a matter of time before that team, they're not as disciplined as you. They're not as focused as you. They're not as strong as you. They don't have the endurance that you have. They don't have the coach that you have. They don't have the coaches that you have. When you have that mindset, Ryan, there's nothing you can't do.
Playing the first game, I like it. I don't know if the time of the game matters to anybody else.
Was it 2 o'clock out there? It's 4 here, 2 out there.
4 here is yes.
Because they don't do daylight savings.
You're right. So 2 there, 4 here, but nonetheless, it's a day game, afternoon game, as opposed to that second premier primetime slot. Not saying that the time of the game matters, but I feel like it helps them treat it more like a business-like attitude. Hey, you know what? You're the early game. You're the minor league game.
Yeah.
Let the big boys play at night, and then move on from there. But I don't know. Do you like that? Do you like that being the first game, getting it over with?
Let me get it out the way.
Yep.
I hate night games.
I hate
night games. I hated playing them. What people will tell you behind the closed doors, we don't like night games. Like, even Monday Night Football, yes. Like, the end result of Monday Night Football is cool. You play it on national TV, had the opportunity, maybe score some touchdowns, a couple million people saw you. But the thing about it is, you're just waiting and waiting.
All Sunday.
And waiting.
All Monday.
You're just waiting. So when you wake up, I'm going to take you through the day of an 8 o'clock game, just the day of. So you wake up, you'll do breakfast at 7. Do a breakfast at 7. First meeting, it'd be a team meeting by 8:15. It'd be offense and defense. You won't do team meetings in the morning. You'll do offense, defense. You'll sit there, you go over some plays. Coach will run through about 15 plays, maybe 20 plays. You do a quick breakup with your offense group, about 15, 20 minutes. Then you guys will do a walkthrough. So you go through about, the first 15 plays. And then you do a couple adjustment plays or things like that. So now it's right around about 11. You go back up to your room. Now I got to turn on TV. Now I got to find something to do from 11 to when the bus leaves, because the bus is going to leave at 4. The bus is going to leave around 4:30, 4 o'clock, something around there. You have an escort. But in that time, sometimes some coaches have another meeting. Or you're just trying to figure out what to do. You're calling people, but you really don't want to talk to anybody on the phone because you want to stay focused. I don't want to be calling my homeboys back home. He's going to be telling me about stuff that has nothing to do with the TCU Horned Frogs. I don't want to hear about what Auntie did on Christmas. I don't care nothing about that. All I care about is the TCU Horned Frogs. So now you got to just sit there and sit there and sit there and sit there. Then you go. Now on the bus ride, you got to get yourself back up to try to play the game. I like when it's a morning game or it's a game at 2 o'clock, everything rolls into the game. You wake up, quick breakfast, quick meeting. All right, we're going to do this. Quick film study. Get on the bus. You go to the stadium. Start getting ready. You go out there. You go through your warm-up. You come back in. You put your pads on. And now it's time to kick some ass. That is a rhythmic system. That's sitting and waiting for 8 hours. Miss me with that.
No, yeah, nobody wants to sit and wait. Like the day game. Hate that, and I'm ready for these games to be not being played on New Year's Eve either. I mean, I think there's maybe people don't care about that. I feel like you're burning a day. I mean, I don't want to be. I'm glad. Well, yeah. Either way, it doesn't matter. I wish it was on New Year's Day. Is what I'm saying. I wish college football playoff games were played on New Year's Day and make that day special again. But again, we only have one more year of this, so we don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, true. Because it's funny. You and Maz were talking about that again earlier after the Purdue game was over, and I was like, you really won't have to worry about this much longer. But since you do have to worry about it much longer, I agree with you, Ryan. I understand. It would be New Year's Day, because think if you want to go out on New Year's Eve, or if you go do something, like you're like, oh shoot, I forgot about the Michigan game. Well, what time does the party start? And blah blah blah. Now it doesn't matter.
If you look at the line in the Georgia-Ohio State game, it does look like it is creeping towards the Buckeyes a little bit. Braylon, I want your take on that. Georgia-Ohio State when we come back. But first, a message from SMA.
The Sports Marketing Agency helps spread awareness about mental health and substance abuse. Their podcast, it's the S word, and the S word stands for stigma, because they are trying to destigmatize mental health as well as substance abuse. Listen, people go through things. It is okay. It is called life. But when you go through things, you got to know where to go to get the information to help yourself. Or if that's happening to somebody that you know, you got to know where to go to help that person. TheSportsMA.com is where you go. Sean Jordan does an amazing job of providing you the content, whether you're talking about substance abuse or mental health. Everybody, it is okay to not be okay, but we want you to come here when you need that information. TheSportsMA.com.
By now you know me, Christina Gennari, as the obvious choice in real estate. And you know my website, SoldChristina.com, as your #1 resource for buying or selling your home. Myself, along with my amazing staff, pride ourselves on making your home buying and selling experience a relaxing and easy one. Come see why we are the obvious choice. Christina Gennari at SoldChristina.com, the obvious choice in real estate.
When it comes to making your haircut truly an experience, there's no better place than Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Come to any one of our 26 Metro Detroit locations for an award-winning haircut experience and qualify for a chance to win a down payment for your dream home up to $200,000. Our precision haircut and talented stylists will have you looking good, feeling good, and give you a chance to change your life forever. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Can't get enough Woodward Sports content? Head over to woodwardsports.com right now for up-to-date sports articles and great entertainment news. We have the best writers, bloggers, and coverage all at your fingertips. Head to woodwardsports.com right now to experience all Woodward Sports has to offer.
What's going on, everybody? JB here, letting you know about the Monroe Street Midway. But you already know, they've swapped out the roller skating, the basketball, and the mini golf for that giant Arctic slide, the winter bumper cars, and of course, the indoor arcade, the Midway Arcade.
Arcade?
Yeah, try your hands at shooting some hoops, or, you know what, just beating up on some supervillains. But you know what, it's always better with some friendly competition involved. Now, I have to tell you right now, games can go from anywhere from 50 cents to $3, but I'm guaranteeing you, you will have an amazing time there. But if the games aren't your thing, you know what? They got food down there as well for you. They're serving up burgers. They're serving up the pierogies, the homemade chili, the chicken sandwiches, and the mac and cheese bites. Ugh, I got to go down there and grab me some. I have to. But coming up as well, too, we got the Woodward Sports Winter Olympics.
Okay.
You'll be able to compete with the likes of Darren McCarty, Braylon Edwards, Adam Baydoun, Ryan Ermanni, and I believe the heavyweights will be down there as well. You might not want to see them going down that slide, though. I'm just going to let you know that ahead of time.
Stuck.
Just letting you know that ahead of time. That, along with the rest of the Woodward Sports family as well, we will be down there as well. So check it out at deckedoutdetroit.com for more winter fun. And from all of us here at Woodward Sports, happy holidays.
Happy holidays. See, JB, now you got me excited, man. You're talking about 50-cent video games. You're talking about chilling. You're talking about all this fun. I'm like, can we go right now? I'm ready. But speaking of chilling, one of the good things about the holiday is I think we spend too much time, effort, and money, Ryan, on DoorDash. Or eating out. Like, if I could, you know what? No, I don't want to see what my 2022 bill was for DoorDash.
I don't either.
I don't either.
All the chicken nuggets and fries I get for Lukey.
Yeah, mine's a little more expensive than chicken nuggets and fries. So I don't want to see it. But that's what happens during the holidays. My mom and my sister have done a great job. Shout out to my mom and my sister. They have been cooking so much. And the reason why I brought it up, JB mentioned chili, and man, we had some chili that I've been eating now for the last 3 days. It was so freaking good. Like, it was insane how good this chili was, man.
Speaking of your mom.
Okay.
Charlie Langton. I saw him today. Charlie Langton of Fox 2 Detroit. He wanted me to tell you to tell your mom that he says hello.
My mom
he
loves
your mom.
So every time I see Charlie, he gives me the same story. But the story, you know how when like someone you know that's so like very genuine and a good person, like every time you see them, they tell you the same story. But the story's so good that you act like it's the first time you're hearing it. I was like, oh, do tell me. But my mom used to own a art gallery inside the Cadillac building, right off West Grand Boulevard, and I think Charlie used to go there to that bank, the Chase Bank, which is directly across from it in the atrium, and she would see him every day, and they would have a conversation. And along the way, I came up because I was my senior year at Michigan. But he tells me that story all the time. He's like, man, your mom was such an amazing individual. She used to talk so highly about you, and then you were a great player at Michigan. So it was like every time I see him, he tells that story. But my mom and Charlie, they got a good relationship.
Yeah, Charlie was telling me the story again, that same story a little bit earlier today. And he was saying, she was always saying that her, son was going to Michigan, or her son's a freshman at Michigan, and then his son's a sophomore at Michigan, and then I was like, oh, that's your son.
That's funny. Dang, where does time go, man?
I know, it's so funny, man. Our lives are so interconnected, especially here in Detroit, in Metro Detroit. We're all just kind of interwoven somehow. Some way.
It's a small city, man. A small metropolitan area.
I mean, it is. Even a year and a half ago when we're both kind of doing our individual things here with Woodward Sports.
When the book came out, I came on the show with
right,
you.
Exactly. And it's like, Braylon, do a show with Braylon. Yeah. You know what I mean? Are you kidding me? Yeah, it's like, it's incredible stuff. Braylon, I'm going to ask you this question.
Okay.
And it's literal, but it's not really. And I know that makes no sense to you.
It does.
Right now, but I'm going to say this. Here's the question. Georgia, Ohio State. Is Ryan Day coaching for his job as head coach of Ohio State? And I asked that because I was talking to a really good friend of mine. I grew up with this kid. I consider him like family. His name's Joe Williamson. He's an actor out in L.A., by the way.
Okay.
Now his latest thing he's been in is Blackbird. You ever see Blackbird on Apple Plus? 6 episodes. It's phenomenal.
Anything on Apple Plus usually is pretty good because they don't put a ton of content.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. Check it out. Blackbird, Apple Plus. He is so done with Ryan Day. He went to Ohio State. He's a huge Ohio State Buckeye. He is so done with Ryan Day, wants him gone.
Okay.
And I think many Ohio State fans are like him. If Ohio State goes out there and gets trucked by Georgia, would they make a move? And I mean, is Ryan Day coaching for his job? That's where I'll stay.
The answer is yes. The answer is yes. And the reason why I had my head down, I was just jotting down a couple notes as you were asking the question. And I'm going to actually read these notes out loud. With Urban Meyer, they weren't losing more than one game a year. Like, in terms of in the Big Ten season, they weren't losing more than one game a year, and then they lose in the playoffs or national championship. Well, he didn't lose the national championship. Ryan Day did, but he was basically essentially getting to the playoffs, or he was at least winning the Big Ten. So you at least had Michigan at bay. Under Ryan Day, I'm gonna just throw out some games, and he can't win the big game. Michigan's now a big game. It's no longer what Urban Meyer played. Now, is it fair? Doesn't matter because life's not fair. He's lost to Michigan 2 years in a row. He lost to Bama in the national title. He lost to Clemson in the playoffs. He lost to Oregon first game of the year last year. He almost lost to Utah last year with nobody even playing. Like for Utah as well as Ohio State. He can't win the big game, but he has this smug attitude that, Michigan people didn't like it, but Ohio State didn't pay attention to it because they were winning. So it didn't matter to them that they had this rosy cheek guy born on third talking a lot
dye his beard.
Exactly, talking a lot of BS. Like he was the coach that was whooping Michigan's ass. Like he was the coach that was out here doing some of these things. Now the Ohio State fans are starting to see what we saw. This smug attitude, like this jokester, this privileged individual, this privileged coach to fell into this amazing storied tradition that is at the top of the conference. He fell into that job. And now he's turned a little bit. Now, Urban Meyer is the one that kind of started Ohio State going in that direction of individualism, selfishness, and being more finesse than physical. But he's the one that's taking all the hit from it. He's coaching for his job because if they go out there and they get blown out, I've seen Ohio State fire people for less. Like, I've seen Ohio State fire people. When you start looking at it, it's not like he just got fired because he lost to Michigan and Michigan. It's because he would have gotten blown out by Georgia. He got beat by Oregon. He almost got beat by Utah. He's got beat by Michigan twice. He got beat by Alabama, blown out by Alabama in the national championship. There's a lot of ass whoopings under Ryan Day in big moments. And Ohio State fans, their alumni base, they don't like that.
Not only do they not like that, I think we're going to find out what Ohio State is made of.
Yeah.
We're going to find out what this team is made of because it's not so much about losing football games. It's how they lose these big games. I mean, they're getting their teeth kicked in, and their toughness is being questioned now. And I think if you're a Midwestern team, if you're a Michigan, if you're Ohio State, if you're Michigan State, if you're Penn State, if you're one of those,
you gotta be
tough.
You gotta be tough.
And you talk about it you've been talking about it for 14 months now, and that is Ohio State up front. Where is their Chase Young? Where is their Taylor Decker? Where are these guys that you see on the offensive and defensive line? You don't see any studs anymore. They're at all these offensive skill positions. Or where is their A.J. Hawk type player?
Oh, my God.
You know,
Bobby Carpenter.
Ryan
Shazier.
Exactly. So I think that toughness is being questioned by Ohio State. The physicality being questioned at Ohio State now, and I would not be shocked. Now, I want him to stay. I'd like him to get an extension, to be quite frank with you, Ryan Day. But
yeah.
I would not be shocked if you see a 3-4 touchdown win for Georgia if they make a move. And I wouldn't be shocked either if they call Urban Meyer back.
You see me folding up the paper? Me folding up the paper was I was about to ask, is that where you go? Like, it's got to be the first place you go, but that's not really the question. Does he answer that call? Or not answer it. Does he take that job? I got to say with Urban, if I'm Urban, no. If I'm Urban, no. And the reason why is, Ryan, I came to Ohio State once, and I turned it around. Like, you guys were on probation. Because remember, his first year, he won 12 games. But because they were on probation, they couldn't play in the bowl game. I turned it around from what you guys had going on. We won 2 national championships. Well, they won what? One? No, they won 1 national championship. His team, essentially, that Ryan Day coach, got them to another one. He was in the playoffs a handful of times. I'm not going back to try to turn it around again. That would be my thought process. I'm not trying to turn this thing around again.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if he would go back. And again, how much better could it be? Right? I mean, how much better?
He makes $7 million to work with Big Noon Kickoff. And, oh, by the way, he's still making $12 million a year from the Jacksonville Jaguars. If I'm him, I ain't doing nothing.
And you know what he doesn't ever do? You know what he doesn't ever do anymore?
Care?
Lose a game.
Exactly.
You make $7 million and you never lose another game.
$19 million, because 7 plus 12.
Yeah, exactly.
19.
You got 19 million reasons to sit at home. Seriously, I mean, I don't
have to deal with your kids. I don't have to deal with grown men. I don't have to deal with the NFL roller coaster. I don't have to deal with recruiting and NIL every freaking day. It's too much.
Begging kids to come play for you that really have no,
Only thing I'm begging nowadays is Starbucks to hurry up with my order. If I'm Urban Meyer. Hey, man, come on, chop. You're taking too long back there.
Hey, I want to stick with college ranks if we could. Matt Rhule,
Nebraska.
Matt Rhule at Nebraska had some interesting things to say that I love that he said them. And again, I hate that he said them too, and I'll tell you why. And that might be walking the fence, but you'll understand, I think, when we talk about it. We'll do that next, but first a message from the Foaling Warehouse.
That's right. The Foaling Warehouse in Hamtramck is the home of the original football bowling game with 2 ways to play, $12 unlimited open play, or you can always reserve a lane for yourself and 10 other people for $120. They got the $2 mystery beer machine, and of course, they've got the full bar. So get your foal on and check them out at foalingwarehouse.com.
It's a great day to get some Centron in your life. Okay. There it is. Centron, here we go. Gotta grab the cranberry. Oh, wait, it's 2 for $4. Gotta double up with the classic as well. Centron World, baby. Centron, available at select Krogers, and if you want to know how, go to @CentronWorld.com. You can get dope like me. You know what? Why wait? Great taste, guaranteed.
As chilly weather approaches, Big Boy's got the perfect comfort meals for you. Try our hearty classic meatloaf or our creamy Cajun chicken Alfredo. These will be sure to leave you craving for more. How about breakfast? Our stuffed potato pancakes are back with our lumberjack, blockbuster, and Santa Fe Garden. These potato pancakes will definitely fill you up. Whether it's for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, come stock up on the perfect comfort meal today. We'll see you soon at Big Boy.
A ton of fun, a ton of sports, and a ton of man meat. Welcome to the Woodward Heavyweights, live daily 5 to 7 p.m. on Woodward Sports.
What's going on, everybody?
Oh, hi, JB.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Real
JB
fine.
Here, letting you know about Planet Fitness. There are official studio sponsors here at Woodward Sports, but they're also home to the judgment-free zone.
No judgment.
Where you can work out in a judgment-free and non-intimidating atmosphere for $10 a month.
Only $10?
Yes, only $10 a month. Or you can always do yourself a favor. Upgrade to the Black Card with unlimited guest privileges, the hydro massage, and so much more in-club. Join In Club today, or you can always check them out at planetfitness.com.
You know what time it is.
Yeah.
That's right. It is... What day is today? Wednesday. Thank you very much.
It's so funny thinking about Planet Fitness, and you really got to appreciate the older gentlemen and women that go to spas or they go to fitness centers. The reason why I say this, as young people, when we go,
no doubt.
Brian, even us, like when we go, you go in there, get a quick workout, and you're in and you're out. Like you're basically trying to get out. That's your time you're walking in. Oh man, you don't even know about the extra amenities that you're basically paying for. Man, older individuals, they sit there and take advantage of everything. They're gonna have something out the cafe.
Yep.
They're gonna sit in the the aqua massage chairs. They're gonna get a workout in. They're gonna sit in the lounge area and kind of catch their breather. They may go in the basketball gym and shoot a couple shots. They take advantage of, they may even bring their granddaughter or grandson there and let them go to the daycare somewhere while they're babysitting. They take advantage of everything.
I think that is going to be my New Year's resolution, actually. Take advantage of time, if you could. Even now, I'd be lying to you if I wasn't thinking about 20 different things I got to do later today after I get off the air, or this week, my wife's birthday, my son's birthday, all this other. You're always thinking about what's next. How many? And there is the psychological study that says 95% of the time you are thinking about something other than what you're doing in this moment right now.
And most times the stuff you're thinking about never happens.
Right. Either way. But well, the old people that you just described that go to the gym, man, they're taking their time.
They're present.
They are present, man, and they are happy to be there. That is going to be the New Year's resolution. Try to be more present.
I'm with you on that one, buddy.
I like that. I wanted to get to this story on Matt Rhule because I think this is a really a struggle in the college football world. So, here is the quote from Matt Rhule. Ready for this, Braylon?
Yep.
If someone only wants to come play for us and play for me because of what we or someone else can help with, NIL, that's really not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for someone that wants to come here and be part of a family, that wants to come here and fight, scratch, and claw for us to win a national championship. And this Coach Vass on Twitter says, wonder if they would have offered 8 years $34 million instead of 8 years $74 million and said, look, we don't want you to come just because of the money. We want you to be part of our family. Would you have still signed? And I totally agree with both of them.
Yeah.
I totally agree with both of them because Jim Harbaugh is creating that here in Ann Arbor. Wants the experience to be transformational, not transactional, and all of these things, building the family, because I think that's how you separate yourself in this college football world. At the same time, it is so easy to say that when you're the guy still getting paid millions of dollars from the Carolina Panthers, and
you still get paid from Baylor,
and you're getting paid 8 years, $74 million at Nebraska. So, I just see both sides of it. I hate where we are, but I appreciate where we are too.
And I definitely understand exactly where you're coming from, because even the response was funny as hell. I definitely love the response. What I would have said is you can do both.
Yeah.
Like, you can do both. Like, you can absolutely do both. If I'm set number one linebacker recruit, and I'm talking to Matt Rhule, and I'm saying, hey, look, all my life, like my father, he was a diehard Nebraska Cornhusker. Like, all I've ever heard are stories about Tommy Frazier and Lawrence Phillips and Tommy Osborne. Like, if I'm telling this to Matt Rhule, like I'm telling you that I'm in on Nebraska culture. Like, I want to bleed red and white. Hell, my father bleeds red and white. But also, I just want to make sure you can give me some green as well. Like, there is nothing wrong with saying, yo, look, I definitely want to rep the colors of red and white. I definitely want to be a part of Lincoln, Nebraska. I want to be there. But at the same time, I also understand that people are getting paid nowadays. And why can't I have both? I don't think it's wrong. And I think his message could have been, if he wanted to say something, he could have said something along those lines. We understand that kids are going to get paid, and we want kids to get paid because they deserve it. But at the same time, we also want kids to want to love the Nebraska Cornhuskers. We want them to learn to love, to be a family here. Like, this is something that's going to be for life. Like, when they put these colors on, no matter how many years they stay, they will always be a part of the history of Nebraska Cornhuskers. I think if he could have said it in that way, he could have won twice. Now look, he'll be in front of the microphones a lot more times before the season starts. So he can work on this spill and he can get the spill right the second time. But there's nothing wrong with both, Ryan. Like, look, I'm a diehard Michigan fan. My dad played for Michigan. I've always wanted to go to Michigan, but if they were offering money too, I would have been like, all right, cool, I definitely want to come here, but, the NIL deals, where are you guys with that? What are some of the potential people you're using around the area? Like, I would like to know those things. You always want to know what's available to you. We were just talking about use what's available to you. Well, NIL and cash are available to these players today. They should want to get paid and also want to be a part. You can do both.
I think that it's great that the Big Ten has upgraded their coaches too.
Yeah.
I mean, to have an NFL guy in Matt Rhule, or even if you don't think he was an NFL guy, even if you just see what he's done in college football, he has turned around 2 programs, including one that was nearly on the death penalty in Baylor. So Matt Rhule, I think Luke Fickell is a really nice addition to the Big Ten Conference as well. And then you bring in the 2 coaches and the 2 teams in UCLA and USC. This Big Ten Conference is going to be a bear to win. I mean, whoever wins the Big Ten Conference is going to earn it in the years moving forward. I'm excited to see it. I am happy it's that way, believe it or not. I mean, I do think there is something about this college football season that was
lackluster.
Yes,
very
to
lackluster.
me. I mean, look, it's all about winning championships, and I appreciate that, and I hope Michigan wins the national championship. I said it back on October 4th. I thought they were going to win the national championship, and I still do think they're going to win the national championship. But week to week, man, this was as difficult a season as you will find. I mean,
Ryan,
I think the first time I ever wavered in can they lose this game was the final game of the year against Ohio State. Why not Penn State?
And not even that one for me.
Yeah. Like Illinois a little bit, but I always felt confident that they were going to make the play.
Like, don't tell anybody else you said Illinois. They were always going to be Illinois.
On the 4th down play, I'm like, okay, you're 1 play away from losing this game.
I still knew they were going to.
Yeah, I did too. Until
it doesn't happen, we have a different conversation.
Right.
No, but you're absolutely right. Like, Ryan, there was only 1 game to get up for this year.
Yeah.
There was only 1 game. Like, even Penn State, I fake got up for that game because I had to be in Ann Arbor. I was working with Discover. Like, I'm fake up. I'm signing autographs, and I'm there, hey, and it's Penn State. I'm like, they're trash. But, I'm trying to get myself up for the game. That's another thing we talked about when you're looking at Jim Harbaugh and you're looking at Michigan. You're talking about the turnaround, talking about how it's happened. When I said there's other aspects at play, well, here's another main aspect at play for Michigan, and this is no knock to Jim Harbaugh. This is no knock to the Michigan Wolverines and Ben Herbert and what he's done. Big Ten sucks right now.
Sucks.
The Big Ten sucks. Like, the Big Ten stunk this year. It wasn't that good last year. Like, last year you had Michigan, Michigan State, and Michigan State and Ohio State. And then you had a fake Iowa that was a fake 12-2. But the Big Ten sucked this year. The Big Ten sucked last year, and even the Big Ten has been on this downward swing since, I would say, 2017.
Yeah.
Like, after the 2017 season, 2018, the Big Ten has been going down. Now it's going to come back up, but right now where it is, there's only Michigan and Ohio State. Like, when Michigan got good in terms of when it clicked for Jim Harbaugh, just coincided perfectly with Big Ten not being good. Because the Big Ten in 2016 and 17 and 15 and 14 and even parts of 18, this is a much different conference.
I am excited to see what Matt Rhule does at Nebraska, what Luke Fickell does at Wisconsin, obviously USC and UCLA coming in, and we'll see what happens with Mel Tucker at Michigan State. Will he get that program up and running again? Time will tell. Will Dan Campbell get the Detroit Lions up and running again? Time will tell. Just days away from the final home game of the season against the Chicago Bears.
Season over?
We'll get there next. We'll do it. You'll hear from Dan Campbell Campbell as well. But first, a message from Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac. Just a couple of days to go until the new year. And this program is continuing through the end of the month, just for a couple of more days. All month long at Les Stanford in Dearborn, you get a 2022 Silverado for just $285 a month, $19.95 down. A Malibu for $225 a month, $19.99 down. You can bring in the new year with new wheels, and Les Stanford is bringing in the new year with bringing you 2 new brands. Les Stanford Buick GMC, now located in Ferndale on Woodward, just south of 9 Mile. Check them out. Same great service for over 50 years.
Down the street.
LesStanford.com. LesStanford.com.
Find new road.
Find them.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Beverly Hills Golf, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
At work and at home, we're there with smarter security solutions. Featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
We aren't quite sure if they consume more beer or sports. Either way, the heavyweights are here. Live on Woodward Sports, daily 5 to 7 p.m.
3, 2, 1. At Alta.
Alta!
It
Yes,
matters. It matters. Alta Equipment has everything you need to get the job done. Have a big project coming up? Alta Rent has you covered. Give them a call today at 844-GO-TO-ALTA. Once again, that is 844-GO-2 and Alta.
Because I know the guys in the locker room. That's why, and I know these coaches and I know these players, and I know what they're made of. And I just go back to the fact this team was assembled for a reason, and so there is nothing that would tell me that these guys won't bounce back. So we're going to put in the good work today, and they'll be ready to roll.
Dan Campbell at the podium talking about the Lions bouncing back. The last 2 times the Lions lost a football game, they went on to win 3 straight games. If they win 3 straight games this time around, they will have won a playoff game. Exactly. So we'll see if that happens. Braylon, you have not had a chance to comment from Saturday's loss at Carolina. Before we look ahead to Chicago, which we will do, talk to me about what you saw on the field in Carolina on Saturday.
Yeah, what I saw, and I was trying to get their schedule up. I can
Lions?
Yeah, no, I pulled it up on here as I talk. The main thing, obviously, is easy. The Carolina Panthers ran the ball. You look at the first 2 plays of the game with Chuba Hubbard. I mean, there's 2 runs. They already had 60 yards on the ground. 70. 2 runs, 70 yards on the ground. If you look at the Lions throughout their win streak, or if you look at them on this last, let's say 10-game journey, if you look at the teams that beat them, they ran the football. The Dallas Cowboys, Tony Pollard had over 83 yards. Ezekiel Elliott had over 60 yards. They ran the ball well. You look at, they almost lost to the Chicago Bears. Well, what did the Chicago Bears do? Well, they had over 200. They had over 250 yards of rushing. Even the Miami Dolphins, Tua had 383 yards, but also he ran the ball well. They haven't been able to stop the ball, and the teams that they've played, when they've won these games, they've legitimately been like they've been playing in games all year. My bad, I was apologizing. I got you stay here with me. I said, hey, how you guys? I lost them over. I'm just messing with you guys.
The run of the football.
No, I was joking. But they basically, the teams that they've beaten, they've either gotten out early and been able to pass the ball, and teams have been passing the ball on them. Teams have been trying to throw the ball. They haven't been running the ball. Early on in the year where they were 1-6, you saw a weakness of the Detroit Lions. What was the biggest weakness? It's the linebacker position. It was a Mike linebacker position. Anzalone and then Malcolm Rodriguez, he's done
played a terrible game on Saturday, by the way, Anzalone.
But what happens is The other team, they get paid too. Bob McAdoo, the offensive coordinator, or Ben McAdoo, excuse me, Bob's a basketball player. Ben McAdoo, offensive coordinator. When you're watching 6-7 games of film, okay, where are the Detroit Lions? Like, where are they vulnerable? Where are the creases at? Like, how can we have success? Oh, here it is. The Mike linebackers, like, they stink at the Mike linebacker position. They stink now. That's another reason why I wanted Jalen Carter. That's another reason why they clogged that middle up. That's another reason why I wanted Roquan Smith or Fred Warner, or not Fred Warner, or Roquan Davis. Roquan Smith, you want a linebacker to be able to stop in the run game. They say, you know what, we'll just go zone running off tackle. And that's what they did often early in that game, and the Lions couldn't stop it.
I think this team is built differently. I do think this team is different as well. And I, we had Dan Miller on yesterday. Hate it when people say same old Lions, this, that, the other thing. Dan called it lazy when you say that. Just watch this team with your own two eyes and see how you feel about them. I think this is a resilient group. I think this team has answered the bell each and every time. It would have been easy to lay down at 1-6. They did not. There's only one team in the National Football League, in the history of the National Football League, to start a season 1-6 and make the playoffs, and that was back in 1970. It happened 52 years ago. They are trying to do that. They're going to need a little help, but they got to win this game. They can't go 2-0 unless they go 1-0, and it starts with the Bears this week. They got to get this game at home at Ford Field. This crowd is going to be electric. That building is going to be electric on New Year's Day. And, of course, the Lions are wearing their throwback jerseys, so you know what time it is, Braylon Edwards.
You know what time it is. I used to love that, especially those Barry Sanders games. Something about the old uniforms, it reminds me of Barry Sanders going for about 200 yards on 12 carries. The thing about the Detroit Lions is, I agree with Dan Campbell, but it is lazy. That is lazy to say same old Lions. They're not the same old Lions. They went 1-6 and then they turn around and went 6-1. They've won games. They've outcoached people. They've outplayed people. They've been the better team all the way top and bottom in games. They've made less mistakes. Now, that wasn't the case this past Saturday, but they usually have made less mistakes than people in the second run that they've had. The only thing that you got reminded of this past is that the Lions are still in the infancy stages of a new regime. Just last year we were talking about how undermanned this team was. Oh, they don't have this position. Oh, they don't have that position. Is Jared Goff the guy? Oh, he's just a stopgap. Well, Dan Campbell doesn't really know how to coach, so he'll probably get fired. Like, that's where we just were last year. Now they're on the precipice of going to the playoffs for the first time since 2017. They're not the same old Lions, but they're still undermanned at some positions, and that's why they have the 2023 draft. That's why they have more money that they've cleared up and freed up for free agency. So if you're saying SOL, then shame on you because you're lazy as hell, because this isn't the same team. Now, with all that complimenting going on, you guys are the better team against the Chicago Bears, so I need you to go out there and beat the Chicago Bears. Then we'll get to the Green Bay Packers. There's no reason for the Chicago Bears to beat the Detroit Lions in this game. They are a better team from top to bottom. Detroit Lions, you go out there, you take care of business. Season's still in your hands.
And they're going to need some help, though, too. Yeah. I mean, if they're going to make the playoffs. Fletch, give me the Pro Football Talk power rankings right now. Braylon, we did this a little bit yesterday, but I want your comment on it. If you look at these power rankings in the NFC, the Lions, they got trucked against Carolina on Saturday. They only dropped one spot here. There are only 4 teams in the NFC ahead of the Detroit Lions: San Francisco, Philadelphia, Minnesota, and Dallas. That's it. And each year, every season is a different season. There is no Buffalo Bills. There is no Patrick Mahomes that you have to go through. Hell yes, San Francisco looks pretty darn good, and Jalen Hurts looks good, and all these things. But I'm not scared to go to Minnesota. If the Lions were going to Minnesota to win a playoff game, I would probably pick Detroit Lions to beat Minnesota today. If they got to go the following week to Philadelphia, you've got Jalen Hurts, who's injured. News today about Lane Johnson. He's putting off surgery. He's going to play. But that's a very banged-up Philadelphia team. If you look at San Francisco, yes, San Francisco looks like if they get to 20, you're done. Right? If they score 20 points.
If they score 14, you might be cooked.
If they score 14 points, you probably lost the game. But Brock Purdy, we don't know if he's going to throw 3 interceptions. I mean, this is one of those years, and again, make fun of me all you want. The Lions could get to the Super Bowl this year if they make the tournament. All they got to do is get in.
All they got to do is get in. I say it. You look at that list. None of those NFC teams that are ranked ahead of the Detroit Lions are named the Chicago Bears and Green Bay Packers. So that's where you got to start. You're a much better team than both of those teams. You want to start something new? We'll start closing on games that you should win. Now, this past weekend, tough game. I even said it. I said this is one that scares me. But these are two games that you should win. Everybody wants to point out the Cincinnati Bengals. This is the other side of things for the Detroit Lions. In terms of what the Bengals did last year, catching fire and getting to the playoffs, they won 9 games. They somehow got to the Super Bowl. Well, look, they had Joe Burrow, and they had a team that was ready. Like, they had a team on offense. Like, the Lions' offense is good. You're talking about two players that are arguably the best player in the league for the Cincinnati Bengals. Talking about Joe Burrow and talking about Jamar Chase. With that being said, Detroit Lions, go back to what you did and what was working for you when you went 6-1. You eliminated your mistakes. You filled the gaps. You played physical, and you made the plays that came to you. Like, that's it. When you watch Jared Goff in that game, once they start running the ball on the Detroit Lions, once they were responding as opposed to setting the initial punch, looked a little nervous. Then Jared Goff did something he hasn't done in a while. What was that?
Turn the ball over.
He turned the ball over. Then did you notice what happened with Jared Goff after that? Ball started getting batted at the line of scrimmage. Jared Goff 6'5.5". I repeat. Jared Goff is 6'5.5". There's no reason for him to get past his batted.
Those tiny hands. That conversation came up again. Yeah.
Now all of a sudden his hands are tiny
conversation
again.
Came up again.
Just take care of what you're supposed to be doing. Like, if you play like you have been playing. And now this is Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn. How good are you? How good are you? When you go back to the drawing board, Ben Johnson still called a pretty decent game. You're still also dealing with the running back situation that was null and void in the game. Aaron Glenn, how good of a defensive coordinator are you? Because you don't think the Chicago Bears weren't watching the film of Carolina rushing for over 340 yards, their highest rushing yard output in the history of the franchise? You don't think
they were watching? They were watching.
So what do you do, Aaron Glenn?
And we're going to be watching the Washington Commanders this week as well. We're going to be watching the Seattle Seahawks. They are going to start. They have made a change at quarterback. We'll talk to you about that. Carson Wentz will get the start under center for Washington. How many
times has he gotten benched and started?
Seriously, my goodness. 4. We'll talk about it next. But first, a message from Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Come to Lady Jane's for an award-winning haircut experience and register for a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to win your dream home up to $200,000 on a down payment. Lady Jane's open 7 days a week. You can walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Wicked. Hi, I'm John from Better Rate Mortgage, and to me, family is more than blood. That's why I have the biggest family in Metro Detroit. If you're looking to buy a house or refinance and need a loan, come get treated better than family by me and our entire team here at Better Rate Mortgage. We pride ourselves on giving you better advice, better service, and a better loan experience. That's why we are Better Rate. If you're looking for a new mortgage, come get treated like family. Actually, better with Better Rate Mortgage. Visit us at mybetterrate.com or call at 248-480-4467 today.
We don't like to brag that we are the toughest sports network in Detroit, but we do have a guy named Darren McCarty on our side.
Lemieux and McCarty, who've had a good knockdown drag up. There they go, right on the whistle. They were talking to one another.
Woodward Sports.
Downtown Detroit is all decked out this holiday season with the return of the Cadillac Lodge and the Monroe Street Midway. The Midway's got the giant slide, those winter bumper cars, and of course, that indoor arcade. Plus, you can grab yourself a drink at the Lodge before or after any Lions, Wings, or Pistons home games. Shop, eat, and play all downtown with Decked Out Detroit, and you can always check them out at deckedOutDetroit.com.
There you go. Hey, Ermanni and Edwards with Maz, Ryan Ermanni, Braylon Edwards, Tom Mazaway out this week, driving to Jersey to see his family.
Can you imagine a 9-hour car ride? Maz?
No, I can't. I can't.
No, thank you.
No, I mean,
I can do an hour and a half.
You're a better man than I am. I could barely make it to those Lions pregame shows 20 minutes.
It's like 20 minutes. What you guys listen, Casey Kasem?
Oh man, he had 70s on 7.
I knew
This year's 1974.
We were talking about Mavs before you got in. It was like, hey, do you guys remember? It was like, Mavs, it was 1968. No, I do not remember.
What a guy.
I've seen it, but I don't remember it.
What a guy. He'll be back next week. Braylon's getting ready to go to Arizona and the Fiesta Bowl, Michigan and TCU. Looking forward to that one. But I did want to stick with some NFL quick, if we could, Bray.
Yeah.
Lions are obviously going to need Washington to lose a game and Seattle to lose a game. I think Seattle's going to lose a game to I think they're going to lose this week to Mike White and the Jets, to be honest with you. I think Seattle's going to lose.
I agree.
Washington was a team that I'm not sure they were going to lose. I think the schedule sets up nice for them. If we put the standings up right now and who they have in front of them, they play Dallas the final week of the regular season. And they got Cleveland. Cleveland sucks, man.
Something about Cleveland I don't get.
Cleveland sucks. I can't believe how bad the Browns are. I thought Deshaun Watson was going to be rusty coming in, but I didn't expect this. So Carson Wentz going to start for them. Carson Wentz, 2-4 as a starting quarterback this year. If they win their final 2, they're in. But Taylor Heineke, who was 5-3-1 in his starts, benched Wentz 2-4. I think this is, if you're Seattle, if you're Detroit, if you're Green Bay, this is probably the best possible scenario for you, for the Washington team to go with Wentz.
Crazy thing about it is, I would say it doesn't matter because Taylor Heineke is so unpredictable. But then I guess that contradicts itself because if he's unpredictable, then maybe he'll have a game where he's on. I definitely think you're right. It suits up the best for those teams trying to get that last playoff spot. Like, they don't have any confidence in either one of their quarterbacks, and if they don't have confidence, you know who doesn't have confidence? The players on offense don't. Like the wide receivers. Like if I'm Terry McLaurin, like when you run an amazing route time and time again, and you turn around and the ball's not there, and you turn around and you see the ball going the other way for a touchdown, or you turn around and see the quarterback on the ground, or you turn around and see a quarterback doing something you've never seen, it's like, why the hell is he scrambling? He's not Mike Vick. Like, slowly but surely, you don't run those routes quite as hard. Slowly but surely, you know what? You're looking a little bit before you finish that route. Like, that's where
something tells me you have experience with this.
I don't know what you're talking about. I always ran the route hard when I knew I was getting the ball. No, I'm joking. But yeah, like, that's what happens. The mindset changes. You stop believing in the guy calling the plays. When you see a coach, when you see an owner, when you see your franchise doesn't believe, then why the hell am I going to believe in this guy? That's what you start to see. So I said your assessment of them benching Taylor Heineke to bring in Carson Wentz, it definitely bodes well for the other teams trying to get into that spot because the Commanders have no faith in their quarterback, and I don't believe they have any faith in themselves, to be honest.
And we talked about this when the tie happened between the Giants and the Commanders. That tie could ultimately bury the Lions. Yeah. I mean, the Washington and the Giants tie, that is something that, I mean, if the Lions win these last 2 games and don't get in, and Washington gets in, I mean, that's going to give you nightmares.
Because you know, the thing that sucks about that is you know that if the Washington Commanders got in, it would only be a formality.
Yeah.
They will be getting in to get whooped by somebody.
Exactly.
Like, they're not getting in to actually win the playoff games. If the Lions got in, you know, you called it. You talked about it. You're not scared of any of those NFC teams, and you shouldn't, with the exception of the 49ers defense. And that's not even a complete team that you're scared of.
Honestly, if the Lions got in, they went to Minnesota.
The flip side is the other place, though.
What's that number, though? What's that line, JB? What's that line, Fletch? What's that line?
Minnesota.
Lions at Minnesota. I think that's a
Minnesota
3.5. And you get 3 for playing at home. So it's like a pick'em game.
Yeah. I mean, the Lions have beat Minnesota once. They should have beat Minnesota twice. Lions are playing fearful or fearless football, I can say. But at the same time, like, it's a different thing when you're putting a new team in the playoff. See, Minnesota goes to the playoffs every year. So they may not win in the playoffs, but they go. So you got guys that aren't afraid of the moment. So I think that's why you have Minnesota probably be the minus 3.5. But like you said, if you give me an opportunity, All I need is a shot.
If the playoffs started today, let's put that one up because I think that's an interesting one. And obviously the Giants and Washington would get in if you just look at the right side. That Dallas-Tampa Bay game, I'm not betting against Tom Brady. I know they've been terrible this year, but I'm not betting against them. You've got Philadelphia as the only team that gets the bye because only one team now, the 1 seed, gets the bye. New York at San Francisco and Washington at Minnesota. San Francisco, man, they're going to be a hard team to beat. That's a hard team to beat and probably the favorite in the NFC. I look at the AFC, coin flip. Buffalo, Kansas City, coin flip.
Like, the 49ers are really built like the Patriots of the late 90s and eventually to Tom Brady.
The first time.
Yeah. And what I mean by that is, look at it. The 49ers went to a Super Bowl, 4 years ago? But they weren't ready. But you know what stayed intact that whole time? That defense stayed intact. Their integrity.
3 defensive coordinators later.
100%, but the defense still was good.
Yeah.
Like, the defense has always been good. The offensive integrity has been good. Good offensive line. We're going to have a running game. We'll figure the quarterback out. And they've added offensive weapons now. Same thing that happened with the Patriots. Patriots went to the Super Bowl and lost. And then fired their coach and bought in, but they kept the defensive integrity. They kept the Willie McGinnises of the world. They added, Rodney Harrisons of the world. They add the Ty Laws of the world. You add these players to the defensive integrity there, and finally, and you keep.
You see Willie, man? By the way,
Willie who McGinnis?
Did you see Willie McGinnis?
No, what did he do?
Knock that dude out at the bar.
I did see that. I did. So
Come on, Willie.
You know, I played on a team with him.
Yeah, Cleveland.
They bought him. Actually, that was my big brother. I actually picked him up from the airport when he came in. Yeah, Willie's.
That's a side note.
Since you bought, I got a side note story about Willie. We were in Cleveland. This was 2006, and he and this one big lineman, Nat Dorsey, like all they did was argue back and forth. Like this is all they did, like all day long.
Was it real?
Yeah. No, it was about football or tunk or gambling, but it was, you could feel the tension. Like they did not like each other, and I think it stems because Nat got about 25,000 of like Willie's money, and like ever since that moment there was this tension. And finally we're in the locker room and they were going at it, and Dalen McCutcheon, DB, played at USC. He was a great DB back in the day. He was like, man, why don't y'all just shut the F up? Why don't y'all go out there and just get it over with? And Willie was like, let's go. See, I knew in that moment it was over for Nat. Like, Willie is a dude from like
South Central,
no,
right?
He's like from South Central. South Central. Like the dudes in the movies that play the Bloods, like in those movies, like Training Day. Like that's what he grew up with. Like them, he's really about that life. So when they went out there, even though Nat Dorsey is 6'6", like 315, Willie goes about 6'5", 260. I was like, it's gonna be quick work. Willie hit him with about a quick 5-piece. Hey, but guess what though? There was no more tension.
Quick 5-piece.
There was no more tension. It's like sometimes the office like, would you two just and get it over with?
Oh God!
It was the same thing. Like they went and scrapped, got it over with. Like it was great.
Oh my God!
Willie just wanted to beat him up for taking his money. That's all it came down to.
God bless him.
Okay, God, I've always wanted to tell that story. There you go.
Oh God, I'm glad you did.
Yeah. He had a knot on his. Oh man, Romeo Cornell came out there to break the fight up. Like we were about to leave to go travel to it. I can't remember where we were going to play, but Romeo came out there. And Romeo's not the slimmest man. He could use custom help.
Yeah, he could. Custom Health Centers 844-789 thin.
Perfect timing. He came out there in a wife beater, Ryan. He had a wife beater on. It was a great day. Needless to say, we lost the game too.
Oh man, Romeo Cornell, how do you not? My goodness. All right, that was a funny one, Bray. I got to take a break. Last break of the show, then we'll be back to wrap it up. Should the Lions go get Zach Wilson?
Ooh,
we'll have that question coming up next. But first, a message from Chili Peppers Tanning. I mean, I haven't seen the sun in weeks.
I haven't seen the sun in weeks either. But Chili Peppers Tanning is where you'll find the cleanest salons in the D.
Where are you going to find it, JB?
The cleanest salons in the D at Chili Peppers Tanning, with spotless sanitized rooms and trained certified tanning professionals. Join the Pepper Club today for the best deals. They'll beat all competitors by $5.
They'll beat you by $5.
Oh, yes.
$5.
$5. But don't forget to pick up Australian Gold, Designer Skin, Cal Tan, and Sweetest Beauty Lotions.
Hey, mate.
27 locations and more coming soon. Chili Peppers Tanning is your vitamin D headquarters. Check them out at chilipepperstanning.com for the hottest bugs, the hottest deals, and the darkest tans.
Darkest tans.
.com.
Introducing the Planet Fitness Guide to getting that post-workout glow. Step 1. What's your why? More epic energy? Better sleep? Blow off steam? Step 2. Join Planet Fitness for just $10 a month and get moving in our clean and spacious clubs. Step 3. Bask in that post-workout glow. Join Planet Fitness today for just $10 a month.
Join today at any of the 50-plus Detroit area locations.
I'm Dr. Jason Olafson, DC, the founder of the Custom Health Centers, and we've helped thousands of people learn how easy it is to lose weight and keep it off with our customized weight loss and body contouring programs.
With Custom Health, you don't feel hungry, you eat well. My name is Simeon Timbuk, and I've lost 71 pounds on the program.
Call us at 844-789-THIN or visit CustomHealthCenters.com for a free consultation and get started for as little as $5 a day.
Can't get enough Woodward Sports content? Head over to woodwardsports.com right now for up-to-date sports articles and great entertainment news. We have the best writers, bloggers, and coverage all at your fingertips. Head to woodwardsports.com right now to experience all Woodward Sports has to offer.
Centron has joined with WoodwardSports.com to become the official energy drink of the Detroit Pistons. Pre-order their limited edition 6-pack now at CentronWorld.com/Red Wings. They want to be here to energize the community. They want to bring us back. So why don't you help drink it, live it with Centron.
Centron.
What time is it? It's definitely 3:50.
Freaking goofballs in here now.
Hey, man. If you can't smell, man, it's going to be a long life.
I'm telling you. What's today, Wednesday?
Yes.
That's the third time you've asked.
Got 1 day left.
You got any New Year's resolutions, Braylon? Do you do that?
Yes and no. I don't do the ones and take them back. Like whatever I say I'm going to do, I fight to do it. I think this New Year's resolution is no drinking.
Oh, damn.
The month of January, which should lead to, modifying or moderation period.
That's real good.
You talked about being present.
Yes.
I want to be present more.
Present more.
I think I've done a better job than I have been doing, but you got to keep getting better. So I'm going to make it simple. No drinking January, unless the Michigan game now.
Oh, you got it. Yeah, January 9th. January 9th.
Yeah, January 9th, I get a pass.
Be a mess.
If they lose, then I get a pass on January 9th and 10th.
And 11th, maybe. We'll see what happens.
No drinking outside of the national championship.
You don't know. Nobody ever has a resolution to do anything bad. My New Year's resolution: start smoking a pack a day, rip off, a case of beer, and eat junk food daily. Nobody has resolutions like that.
You know why? Because they're already doing it.
Right, yeah. No doubt. Hey, I wanted to get to this before we close it out, guys. Zach Wilson, his days in New York are done. Former number 2 overall pick by the New York Jets, your former team, Braylon. I know you're close to the team. You were just there in New York last week or 2 weeks ago talking to the Jets players and had an opportunity to speak with all these guys. It just didn't work out for them, but that doesn't mean, and you've seen guys like Ryan Tannehill. I mean, Ryan Tannehill was total trash in Miami. Hooks on with a team and a system in Tennessee and only became a Pro Bowl quarterback and led that team to a number 1 overall seed a couple of different times, I think. Could Zach Wilson, does he have the talent to do that? And is he worth taking a flyer on here in Detroit? Somebody's going to give him an opportunity. He does have talent, but would you give him an opportunity here to at least be on your team behind Jared Goff next year?
Absolutely not. And the reason, so I had a chance to meet him when I was out there. I met him that Friday. I mean, nice kid. I mean, seems like a nice kid. Just got caught with his foot in his mouth. Got caught worrying a little bit about himself too much, and that's not necessarily his teammates. And it didn't go well for him. And he didn't have the displeasure of getting He didn't have the pleasure of getting 5 extra years like Ryan Tannehill in Miami. He's got 2. So I don't think because when you're looking at him, a guy like that has same thing I told Maz about Baker Mayfield. Like a guy like that has to make a turnaround right now, but he's still in number 2 overall mindset. He's still in the money that he makes mindset. He's still in, well, I'm a starter, I'm that guy mindset. When it doesn't work that fast, when so many people have moved on from you, that's a you thing. That's something that you got to look in the mirror and say, you know what? Whatever happened or whatever led me to this road where 2 years after I'm getting drafted, I'm gone, I got to find a way to change that. And I don't know if he's going to have that conversation. I don't want to waste time, money, and effort when I got something that's moving in the right direction. I don't have time to waste with Zach Wilson trying to figure it out. I wish him well if I'm the GM of the Detroit Lions, but I'm not taking a chance on that. But I think he can get it figured out, but he's got to be real with himself. When you get let go after being the number 2 overall pick at quarterback after 2 years, a lot of twos going on right here, and he wears number 2. But when that happens, that ain't a them problem.
Right.
That's a you thing.
Because they want every reason in known to man to keep you.
So that's a you thing.
I'm running out of show here, but I wanted to get this in as well before we get out of here. Did you see this Russell Wilson story?
Oh, Lord.
Russell Wilson is an
Russell,
absolute disaster. Russell Wilson's teammates hate him.
What happened now, man?
Shannon Sharp says that Russell Wilson's teammates are seething over his attitude and that the next Broncos coach should take his private office and parking spaces away. He has a private office at the stadium and several
at the facility.
At the stadium. And
why? See,
he's got them everywhere. And he's got him at the facility, at the stadium. He has parking spaces for him and all of his people there, and his teammates literally hate him. And Shannon Sharp stopped short of giving any more details. If Shannon Sharp's saying that about you, he's as dialed in as anybody in Denver.
100%. That's his place.
How do you even come back from that? I mean, you're owed $250 million guaranteed.
Yeah.
You have no first-round draft pick or second-round draft pick for 2 years. You're stuck with this guy for 4 years. You've got cap hits in the $40, $50, $60 million range. Yeah. What do you even do? And the ownership group, by the way, I don't think that sale is finalized. The sale of the Denver Broncos. I mean,
that was a record.
I mean,
you think they're backing out?
I almost would.
Yeah,
I almost would.
It would be a rough. I wouldn't. It would be a rough first 4 years, but
you got about $1 billion you're going to be paying out over the next 4 years.
That's a lot of red.
Quarterbacks and coaches and a lot of losing going to be going on over there over the next 4 years, and that's just minimum to get rid of Russell Wilson.
I don't know where I would be at and what I do. Like, I'm being honest, because you look at Russell Westbrook, he's actually doing better than Russell Wilson. But you look at Russell Wilson, and it's a tough spot. You got this arrogant. You have this arrogant quarterback that's arrogant, and he's not arrogant because of anything he's done. Mm-hmm. He's arrogant because he happened to be the quarterback when the Legion of Boom and Marshawn Lynch were in town,
right?
In the Seattle Seahawks, and he was arrogant because he had a coach who knew how to take care of him, put him in the best situations, and then you blew him off, and then you had something to say about him. So this is his mindset now. He's not changing. Like, Russell Wilson isn't going to be this all of a sudden team guy and rah-rah guy and try to fix it. So I don't know, man. I would sit down and have a conversation with Russell, like, look, man, where can we meet in the middle? Like, maybe we do a deal. Maybe you give us some of the money back and we let you go. We let you out the contract or something like that, because they are in. He's got them by the short and curlies, as Maz would say.
Hey, one of the things I want to talk about tomorrow, Bray, and we'll get out of here. Is there any concern with you with Jameson Williams? And I'll say this, whether or not he's just not getting the reps in the games, he looks like he's getting frustrated. And now I know it's for a much different reason, but you see what it's like Deshaun Watson, how long it's taken Deshaun Watson. Now, he hasn't played a game in 2 years, but Jameson Williams really hasn't played a game in 1 year. If he doesn't play over the next 2 weeks and sits out essentially another year, you're talking about a year and a half of calendar year. Would you be worried about that? It doesn't look like it, but a conversation for tomorrow.
I won't say anything.
Yeah, don't say anything.
I'm not going to pull a Maz.
Don't be Maz and ruin my teases.
So what I think is, You'll have to tune in tomorrow.
Yes, absolutely. Get us out of here.
Yo, hell of a show. Glad to be back. Glad to be feeling in good health. We got one more day. We won't be here Friday. So tomorrow, let's get into more Lions. What do the Lions need to do to beat the Chicago Bears? I think we'll be able to get there. Maybe even sneak a guest on tomorrow, man. But I got some friends in the studio right now.
Come on up, Michael, Emma. Come on up. Say hello.
Say hello. Come on.
Come on. Say hello.
Come on up.
Come on up, Michael and Emma. Come on.
You
say
guys
hello.
got time.
Come on. Just say hi. All right, Emma. Come on.
Swing the mic right towards you. Here you go.
All right. Say hi, Emma. Say hi to your friends over there.
Hi. Who are we saying hi to, Emma? Who's out there?
I'd like to say my Uncle Eddie.
Uncle Eddie, hey! Not from Christmas Vacation, though. It's holiday season. Sorry, Uncle Eddie. Emma, good job, sweetie.
That was good enough.
Emma is a great dancer, great family friend, and her brother Michael is too shy right now, but the Topolinskis, good friends of ours, came in to check it out in Birmingham. So
I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. Jerry of Eastern Michigan University fame.
I've seen Jerry a couple of times. I've seen him here a couple of times. I love the cross, by the way, man. Our Lord and Savior, baby. I love it. But hey, man, for Fletch, JB, for Mass, who's with us in spirit, my brother from another mother, Ryan Ermanni, we are Ermanni and Edwards with Emma.
Yes.
There you go. Tune in tomorrow.
Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.